Hello everyone, welcome to the GK and Study Quiz Fest channel. As you are aware, 20th February is celebrated as National Science Day in India in honor of C.V. Raman discovering the Raman effect on this day. There were many other Indian scientists of the 20th century who made yeoman contributions to the field of science. Let us take a quiz to find out how many of these scientists do we know from their contributions. In this quiz, you are given 5 clues and 5 seconds to identify the scientist. Without much ado, let's begin. Clue 1. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine jointly with Robert W. Hawley and Marshall W. Nirenberg for interpretation of genetic code and its function in protein synthesis. Clue 2. He was the first scientist to chemically synthesize oligonucleotides, the first synthetic gene, a yeast RNA. Clue 3. He was the first to crack and elucidate the genetic code. Clue 4. He made significant contributions to the science of the famous PCR, polymerase chain reaction test, used these days to detect the SARS-CoV-2 infection. Clue 5. He made seminal contributions to genetic engineering and biotechnology. This scientist was Hargobind Khorana. Clue 1. She was the first woman to receive a Doctorate of Science in 1944 from an Indian university, that is, University of Calcutta. Clue 2. She made significant contributions in medicinal chemistry with special reference to analytical chemistry, alkaloids, coumarins, and terpenoids. Clue 3. She played a major role in establishing the Central Council for Research in Ayurveda and Siddha in Salt Lake City, Kolkata. Clue 4. She was the first woman to be elected as General President of the Indian Science Congress Association in 1975. Clue 5. She was the chief editor of 6-volume series, The Treatise of Indian Medicinal Plants, published by CSIR. This scientist is Asima Chatterjee. Clue 1. He is known for his work on scattering of light and received the Nobel Prize for the same in 1930. Clue 2. He published his first academic paper in 1906 when he was only 18 years of age and performed a lot of experiments and published a note on the color of sea. Clue 3. A theory jointly known with Nath provided the correct theoretical explanation of the acousto-optic effect, which is widely used in optical communication. Clue 4. He worked extensively on acoustics of musical instruments and was the first to investigate the harmonic nature of Indian drums such as tabla. Clue 5. He became the first Indian director of Indian Institute of Science in 1933. The scientist is Chandrasekhar Venkatraman, who is popularly known as C.V. Raman. Clue 1. He is the greatest mathematical genius of his time with many theorems on his name. Clue 2. He made seminal contributions to mathematical analysis, number theory, infinite series, elliptical functions, including properties of partition functions. Clue 3. He left behind 3 notebooks and a sheaf of pages called Lost Notebook with many unpublished results that mathematicians still continue to verify today. Clue 4. One property he discovered was that the denominators of the fractions of Bernoulli numbers are always divisible by 6. Clue 5. He had mastery over continued fraction, algebra of inequalities, circle method in number theory, partial sums and products of hypergeometric series. This mathematician is Srinivasa Ramanujan. Clue 1. She is called as the mother of botany in India. Clue 2. She is a pioneering botanist and cytogeneticist. She is credited with putting sweetness in India's sugarcane varieties. Clue 3. She is the first woman to obtain a PhD in botany in the US in 1931 and the first director of the Central Botanical Laboratory at Allahabad. Clue 4. A herbarium in Jammu Tawi with over 25,000 plant species is named after her. Clue 5. 2 awards, National Award on Plant Taxonomy and National Award on Animal Taxonomy, were instituted in her name in 1999. This botanist is Janaki Ammal. Clue 1. He is an astrophysicist who discovered that massive stars collapse under their own gravity and become black holes. Clue 2. He discovered that a white dwarf can exist only if its mass is less than or equal to 1.4 times our Sun's mass. Clue 3. In 1983, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics along with William Fowler for his theoretical studies of the physical processes and evolution of the stars. Clue 4. He made seminal contributions to the fields of stellar dynamics, including the theory of Brownian motion and theory of radiative transfer. Clue 5. He made significant contributions to hydrodynamics and hydromagnetic stability, the equilibrium, and the stability of ellipsoidal figures of equilibrium. This scientist is Subramaniam Chandrasekhar. Clue 1. He is an Indian-American neuroscientist who made pioneering contributions in behavioral neurology and visual psychophysics. Clue 2. His invention of mirror box and his therapy for amputees was his notable achievement. Clue 3. He was one of the first researchers to recognize the potential of neuroimaging technology to demonstrate the plastic changes in the human cortex after amputation. Clue 4. He was one of the first scientists to theorize that grapheme color synesthesia arises from a cross-activation between brain regions. Clue 5. Along with David Brank and Paul McGeoch, he published the first paper to theorize that apotemnophilia is a neurological disorder. This scientist is V.S. Ramachandran. Clue 1. He is an Indian-American neuroscientist who made pioneering contributions in behavioral neurology and visual psychophysics. Clue 2. His invention of mirror box and his therapy for amputees was his noted achievement. Clue 3. He was one of the first researchers to recognize the potential of neuroimaging technology to demonstrate the plastic changes in the human cortex after amputation. Clue 4. He was one of the first scientists to theorize that grapheme color synesthesia arises from a cross-activation between brain regions. Clue 5. Along with David Brank and Paul McGeoch, he published the first paper to theorize that apotemnophilia is a neurological disorder. This scientist was V.S. Ramachandran. Clue 1. She was the first Indian woman to have bagged a PhD degree in a scientific discipline from a British university. Clue 2. She was a biochemist and discovered the role of cytochrome C in respiration of plant tissue. Clue 3. She took head-on the battle of gender bias with a Nobel laureate who prevented women from pursuing higher education in Indian Institute of Science. Clue 4. She was the founder member of Consumer Guidance Society of India. Clue 5. She developed Neera drink made from sweet palm, nectar, legumes and rice flour, which was an important food for malnourished children and pregnant women. This scientist is Kamala Sohre. Clue 1. He is considered as the father of fiber optics and introduced the term fiber optics for the first time in 1960 article in Scientific American. Clue 2. He did pioneering work in the development of fiber optics. Clue 3. He was identified by Fortune as one of the 7 unsung heroes who greatly influenced life in the 20th century in the Businessman of the Century issue. Clue 4. He was a philanthropist and founding chairman of Sikh Foundation, which engaged in furthering the causes of education, academics, art, publishing, etc. Clue 5. He has authored a memoir, The Man Who Bent Light. This scientist is Narinder Singh Kapani. Clue 1. He was one of the famous 4, the others being R. Rangarao, K. R. Parthasarathi and Veeravalli S. Varadarajan in ISI during 1956 to 1963. Clue 2. He is known for his work jointly with W. Stroop on construction of multi-dimensional diffusion processes based on martingale method. Clue 3. He is known for his work on large deviations with Monroe D. Dunster. Clue 4. He was the first Indian to receive in 2007 the Norwegian Government Instituted Abel Prize, which is the equivalent of Nobel Prize. Clue 5. Another area of Vardhan's work was in the analysis of hydrodynamical limits describing macroscopic behavior of very large systems of interacting particles. This mathematician is S.R. Srinivasa Varadhan. Thank you for watching. Please mention your score and give comments in the comment section below. Like, share and subscribe to this channel if you found the contents interesting and enjoyable. Bye for now.